Pause. Now we're live.
Boom! And we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter Podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
That's right. It is Joey Cates. And in the studio, a long-anticipated episode, we have Captain Angie Holland in the studio with us this evening. We're going to be talking about her charter service, Happy Fishing Charters. But before we jump into that conversation, like we always do, we want to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brown Water Studio. Right out of the gate, Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, they are located on Washington Avenue right over there in Ocean Springs. 2024 is the year to smile more, man. So when you're ready to get those pearly whites shined up and looking clean, book that consultation with them. You can give them a call at 228-215-1202 and tell them that you heard about them on the Brown Water Banter Podcast. Taylor and Cox Law Firm, man, they have been practicing law on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for over 30 years. If you find yourself in need for legal representation for any reason, give them a shout. This is our buddy Tyler right there on the screen. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody, you name it. If you need somebody that's going to fight tooth and nail for you, Taylor and Cox Law Firm is the one for you. Give them a shout, book that consultation, give them a call, 228-696-0111. And once again, tell them that you heard about them on the Brown Water Banter Podcast. Our buddy Kendrick over at Forever Young Men and Women's Health. So look them up on Facebook, Forever Young Men and Women's Health. If you find yourself trying to get off the couch and get back into the gym, but you don't have the motivation, Forever Young Men and Women's Health can get you back on track. Book a consultation with them. Let them go in there and do some lab work on you. They'll draw some blood. They'll talk to you. Office visit, man. Kendrick will get you right back on track. See if maybe you're not vitamin deficient. Maybe you're hormone deficient. He specializes in testosterone replacement for both men and women. So go check them out. You can give them a call at 228-363-6623. So go book that consultation and tell them that you heard about them here on the Brown Water Podcast. I know, Joey, that there is no hope that you...
I'm just now starting. I got itchy fingers.
What are we going to do? We're going to have to get...
We need some more sponsors. Somebody spend some more money with us.
Yeah, that's right. If you know anybody that wants to sponsor the show, we do have a couple slots that are opened up. So jump in on that now. But while Joey's finishing sharing that out, so we get as many people
be about an hour
in on this conversation as we can. If you're, we got a lot of people joining in right now too. So smash that share button if you want to as well. But get your comments and your questions in for us because we want to hear them. Let's see. So, Angie, thank you for being here this evening. This is one of the episodes me and Joey's been kicking around. I know we've seen you at a few different events and been like, oh, we got to get you on the books, And it took a little longer than I wanted it to, but it's here, it's happened, and I'm happy. So thank you for being here. Thanks. And where do we start? So I don't know. You born and raised here?
Yes.
Okay. So born and raised on Mississippi Gulf Coast. And obviously you're a female here, and not many of those on the Gulf Coast that's running. We were talking about this before we went live. Running charter trips.
Owner operator.
Okay. How did you get into this world? Like, did you grow up fishing? Has it been in your blood?
I grew up fishing. I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons and then flip over to Bill Dance and Roland Martin.
Me too.
And I was thinking about this the other day. It seemed like everybody that wanted to, like my grandparents, I had a grandpa in Ocean Springs that would take me to Gravelines and Lake Mars.
Okay.
You know? And then my grandpa in Biloxi, he built shrimp boats, wooden boats on the point down here. I
love to hear that.
And that's been a big, conversation that I can always kind of, when you run into somebody from Biloxi,
who's your grandpa?
Right.
Who's your mama?
What was his name? Your grandpa?
Shannon Elliott-Terrace.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Obviously, that's
he built boats on the Kavasovich yard.
Okay.
And
so the first sponsor of the show, Dr. Robbie Williams, his grandpa, great grandpa was Kavasovich.
Oh, okay.
I remember when we were kids, we would go to the shipyard and hang out and play over there.
Yeah.
Tony Jack was the grandpa, and then that's
the yard he worked at. Was Tony Jack.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
small world.
Yeah, really small town. But so you caught the bug young.
Yes. My dad would take me river fishing. I was telling Andrew the other day that he'd pull up to a bridge and just park and go underneath it and fish it.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of grown up fishing, and I always thought, I never really had any hobbies or interests, as I grew up. Mm-hmm. But then one day it's like it hit me. I was like, I've had this all along.
Right.
This is it. And I had a friend that called me Ben Troxel, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
He was the first person who called me. And I always thought, well, once the kids get out of school and out of the house, then I'll try to get into that career, you know. And in high school, as a matter of fact, I rode to school with a guy named Brad Holliday, and he was the deckhand on Silver Dollar when they were in Broadwater Marina for Brandon Trossett. And I'd ride to school with him, and after school, he'd forget something or have to go by the boat or something. And I'd always think, man, that's the dream job. You know, man, that's such a cool job, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny how years later it came like full circle. And here I am. I'm like, wait a minute, I have an opportunity to do my dream job. Are you kidding me? You know? And then when Ben called, he said, hey, you want to come be a deckhand for me? It was on a sport fish out in Fort Morgan. And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, I think I can make it work schedule wise and kids wise and, you know, make everything work out. And it worked. And then he called me again and that trip worked out. And then the ball started rolling and I was like, I'm not getting off this ball. I'm staying on the ball and then I just put my heart and soul into it. I really did. I asked all the questions. If anybody fished, I was in their inbox. You know, if anybody had anything, I would ask the Speckled Truth guys, hey, what lure do you use? Hey, where do you fit? You know, how do you fish that? How do you, all kinds of questions. I started beating the docks, you know, any captain that I knew, I'd ask him, hey, can I get on, you know, can I work with you? Can I be your deckhand? I would ask anybody, anything, you know, and just tried to get as much information.
As much as you could,
And I've worked for probably 12 different captains now. And it's really, I really like that part because I picked up different things from each captain, what to do, what not to do, you know, what customers like, especially being as a deckhand, you're with the customers more than the captain really is.
Who told us that the other day? Was that Captain Jay Trossett that told somebody made that exact comment about how a lot of times it was, I guess the bigger the boat.
Well, they're up in the bridge.
They're running.
And the deckhand's got to keep them got to keep them going, got to keep the mood up and everything like that. So.
Yeah, and you see how the customers kind of react to whatever the captain says. If they, you know, said something the customers don't like, you catch wind of that, you know, and you kind of, you see what they do like about the captains and what they don't like. And I can kind of frame it to my own, you know, take the good and the bad.
It's funny you say that. Healthcare, completely different topic, but a lot of times a doctor could walk in a room and say something to a family, and as a nurse, you know, you're in there and then they leave. You can pick up on the same thing. It's like, here's what he meant, or maybe you didn't understand that, or maybe it came across like this. So I definitely know what you're talking about.
Well, it's the same way in the fishing world because usually the captain up there is a grouchy son of a gun. Old salty, grouchy. Everything's wrong. Can't do that.
Well, all the pressure's on him. The boat's if
and
the weather's bad,
and then the deckhand gets to be the one.
Yeah, gets to be the comedian.
Yeah, just dancing around.
Having fun.
Yeah, he's always like that.
I like it. We got some comments coming in. Philip said that he hired him 2 days ago because of our podcast. Philip, who are you talking about? One of the sponsors of the show, I'm assuming. Let us know. I'm interested to see that. He also said Fish in the South needs to sponsor the show.
They ain't got no money. They're broke.
I think that would be great. But no, so both of your grandpas got you in at a young age. But you mentioned wait until the kids got older to kind of pursue that dream hobby. Hobby, I think is how you described it. But what was your career before that? Was it raising kids, or were you out in the workforce prior to this? Yeah,
my first career was I sold jewelry at Zales, K's, Gordon's Jewelers. That's what I did for over 10, 15 years or so. And then once I had kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. You know, I'd kind of do whatever I could whenever they were
piddled.
Piddled. To kind of just bring in a little bit of extra income, but nothing substantial, you know. And then deckhanding came along, and I was like, wait a minute, I can make money doing something I love, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna fly. You know?
How long did you deckhand before you decided to make the launch into the captain's world?
It was almost exactly a year. I was a deckhand I started in July and got my captain's license the next July. So I was inshore and offshore deckhanding, you know.
And you went the traditional route the C school route,
I
right?
did.
Went over to
Yep.
Bayou La Battery and did all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you learn a whole lot of stuff over there that you don't
I loved it.
realize.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you think you can drive a boat. I've been here my entire life,
Right.
and I get in there and I was like, what did she say?
Right.
And you just bang your head up against the wall for a week.
Yeah.
But it's worth it for sure.
And I like the whole experience of it. We had a great class there was a huge camaraderie between, the whole class as a whole, because at night the teachers would go, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they kind of left for the day, and we were studying, cramming, and we'd kind of come together. And if I didn't know something and this guy was picked up on it in class, he would help me, and then I'd help this guy on whatever they needed to know.
A bond.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the guys that I was in C school with that I still stay in contact with, that we just kind of
you
keep in
form a
contact.
bond, like you say,
and you got to, because there's nothing else to do with Bayou La Battery. There's one bar, and that's about it. So
rod knockers. We made several appearances as a group to rod knockers.
when the lights go out, you get that meal, and it's literally like military. I mean, you wake up, you eat, go to lunch, school.
Yeah.
5 days, was it?
5
it was 6, and then I stayed for my master's the extra 2 days.
100 ton,
the 100 ton.
So 8?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Yeah. That's,
But the food is delicious. But I'm telling you, it's eat, study,
Yes.
eat, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the way
I
in.
studied till my eyes wouldn't stay awake anymore, or I had to go to sleep to get my 4 hours of sleep and then wake up and do it again.
Sam Davis says his favorite part of C school was the corned beef hash.
I swear I gained 10 pounds at C school because the food he ain't lying. It is
kind of weird,
delicious.
though, ain't it? Why is it good?
Well,
That's weird.
They train the actual chefs. Like if you're going to be a chef
on a
boat,
okay.
They train them there.
What a good idea that was to pair the two.
Yeah. I know. And like you can tell when it's almost lunchtime because everybody's like,
yeah,
right.
God, what is that? I got to use the bathroom.
What a great idea that was. I like it. Yeah, that's killer. So what was it like on that first trip? Was it intimidating we'll start at the deckhanding part. Because it's a different game, right? I'm assuming I'm not a charter boat captain to be a hobbyist, have gone out a couple of times before.
It was very intimidating, and especially because I wasn't going out on just a regular inshore boat. I started on a sport fish, a big sport fish with the tower.
Yeah.
And I can remember I was afraid to climb the tower. I mean, literally, I was freaking out because I had to go up there and wash down, and get the salt off of everything. And Ben makes fun of me all the time, like, how far you've come to being afraid to climb the tower,
Yeah, started from the bottom, now we're here. How did you know Ben prior? You may have said that a minute ago.
Just kind of Facebook.
Okay.
But
I wonder what made him think to reach out and say, hey, do you want to come do this? Like,
I think because I posted, I had my own boat at that point, and I fished every weekend. If the weather was good, I had a Key West.
Just for fun.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I was out fishing every single weekend, no matter what.
Okay.
And I think
sense.
And especially I would, his wife, LaCrissa, I would talk to her about fishing stuff and throwing the cast net and fiddler crabs and so we just kind of became.
Ain't that weird how like one phone call can kind of turn your trajectory in life? It might have happened in some other way too, for sure, but like that was how it happened for you.
Right. Yeah. I'm so thankful. I'll forever be thankful for Ben.
Yeah. When you got out of C school and you found you're a captain, were you working for yourself? Did you work for other people? How'd that work?
I was working for Biloxi Sportfish.
Okay.
And I worked for them quite a while and just stayed on as a captain for them. I'm still actually a fill-in captain for Let's Go Fishing. And, I've worked with Megabyte on their boats as a deckhand, not a captain.
Okay.
But, I was already the deckhand on Biloxi Sportfish, and he knew that I was going to C school. So he said, look, the minute you get your captain's license in, we'll just start letting you run trips, because I was already doing everything on the same boat anyway. So he kind of cut me loose and let me run my own trips. And that's how it kind of started from there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how has it been? I know we got to bring this up. We got to bring this up.
Yeah.
You're the only female captain. I know there's got to be some stumbles and some hurdles and stuff that you cross and other that, of course,
barriers or like judgments, I guess is what I would call it.
Yeah. So what would you say your biggest obstacle is, if there is an obstacle or something you got to walk through?
There were several obstacles trying to get into the industry, being a female, because if they had a like say the captain was married, the wife may not want a female captain on the. I ran into that several times where I could not get on that boat because they were married, you know, and I couldn't, you know, I've had kind of dirtbag captains, you know, interview me and it goes south quick.
Not a good vibe there.
Not a good vibe. Some of them I didn't call back for the second interview, you know. A couple of those, and a couple of them that just didn't think I, you know, had it because I was a female. Oh, she can't lift, or she can't, you know, reel in monsters, or whatever the case is, you know. It's was definitely a challenge. Yeah. But I would say just trying to get on boats was the biggest hurdle, you know, and kind of breaking in to let them give me a chance. Once they gave me a chance.
As the deckhand or once you got the license, or both?
No, I think once I had my captain's license, I had already worked for several. Gotcha. Yeah. And I think my name had gotten out there, and I'd worked for several different captains to where
they could vouch for you. Your work ethic spoke for itself.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. I work hard. You know, I don't mess around. I show up on time. I don't drink. I'm not, you know, I'm not like
partying late at night.
Partying late at night. I want to go to work. You know?
We got bills to pay. Got to show up. And they keep coming every morning.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately. Yeah. So what is it when you did the deckhand thing? What's the contrast there? Is it more versus being the captain versus taking it out on your own? Do you think there's a more like I guess you have a little less stress, right? More time with the client, like you mentioned.
Right.
What when you become the captain yourself, do you feel like you miss that a little bit?
Well, I actually I still deckhand for offshore.
Okay.
You know, I'm not afraid to deckhand, you know, as a matter of fact, I deckhand today.
Yeah, I was saying, you just got off the boat. Yeah.
Like somebody needed a fill in and I didn't have a trip. So I'm like, hey, it's, you know, winter's cold and long, you know, I'll work. I'm not afraid to work. So, so that keeps me busy.
I got you.
Know?
I got you.
And it's weird stepping out, especially full time in a charter business, because what you say, it kind of never stops down here, but it does trickle out.
Oh yeah.
And the season's about to start trickling out. So you got to do what you do. You know, so you pick up any jobs that you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the cold weather hits, and I guess that's why y'all run through full-time captains. Y'all run during the summer. Y'all are Monday through Sunday. Yeah, probably doubles on those, right?
And I think me and Black Dot are the only people that run year round. Like when it's January, December, you know, February, all of winter, we're the only two captains really that are pulling the boats out, running trips. You know, that marina gets dead quiet in the wintertime.
Yeah. I can tell you my boat ain't in there.
Right. And I don't know if we've said this yet. You kind of just did, but like, so this is your full-time gig, like full-time committed.
Yeah.
No plan B. Like this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. Go
now
on.
We're with both of y'all. All three of us are in the small craft harbors. That's where your cleaning table is and all that stuff. Just got a brand new cleaning table. Looks awesome. How's the small craft family down there? How's that treating you?
I love the small craft. There's, you know, I love the marina. I've always wanted to be in small craft harbor. That was my dream. And trying to get a slip in there was difficult, as you know.
100%.
So
just supply and demand, is that what it is?
There's a waiting list. I actually put in on the waiting list way before I had the boat. Don't tell small craft harbor.
We'll edit that out.
But I knew it was coming. You know, I knew I was in the market. I was going to make it happen. And I knew the waiting list was so long. I was like, well, let me go ahead and get in on the waiting list. That way, when it does happen, we'll just see which one happens first. And so they had one slip. They actually had two. one in Smallcraft, one in Point Cadet.
Right.
And the one in Smallcraft Harbor was the dock was half a dock. There was a huge step to get in. It was not an ideal slip.
Right.
You know, it's the one right under McElroy's on seawall, you know. Only had 3 pylons to even tie off to.
Right.
So it was not ideal.
Right.
And the day that I couldn't wait any longer. I really wanted to slip on the front row because I love being up there. I love Barlow and Evan and Andrew and Chad. You know, we have like a little bond up there. We're the A-team, I call us. You know,
you just pull up and throw all your stuff in it and get out of there.
Yeah, it's way easier than being on that back dock, having to find a car.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, I know all about that. I'm on the back dock. Yeah.
So the day I went in to buy, I was like, well, I can't wait any longer. I'm ready to run trips. I'm going to go ahead and get that slip in on the sea wall, you know, or sea dock.
Yeah.
The day I went up there, Christina said, guess what? Biloxi Sportfish just sold their business and gave up their slip.
Oh, wow.
So I got the slip that I had already been running out of when I was a captain on the Biloxi Sportfish boat.
Right.
Okay.
And it was like divine intervention. I swear it was. I could hear the angels, you know. And so I got my slip. I got my slip that I wanted, and it all worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
You know?
That's killer. That's a good part of the story. Like, just put the work in, and it'll, you know, it pays off.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the boat. What do you run?
I run a Sea Hunt Triton 24-foot Yamaha 250.
Yeah.
So it's a good boat.
Yeah.
It's actually Kyle Johnson's. It's the boat he
his
started
other
on.
boat. Yeah, because he's got like 16 of them.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, he's like his other boat.
Yeah.
He's got
I
like
think when you
50.
said she bought Kyle, I was like, oh, the Makira? No, his other boat. I was like, wait.
He's got 2 of them. Yeah.
3
the
of them
original boat.
Yeah, it was at Furlan's, wasn't it? Or did he have it at Furlan's at one point and then he pulled it and sold it to you or something like that?
It was at his house. It was just sitting in his yard collecting dust. So, and I needed a boat, and you know.
You like it so far?
Yeah. I like it. It's got nice deep sides, so I'll be able to run snapper trips. You know, it handles wakes extremely well, probably better than any other boat that I've been a captain on, you know, and driven and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's a little deeper V, than the rest of us little bay boat guys for sure.
Yeah, it handles really well.
Oh, look at that. Look at
that. It's right there.
Yeah, let me see if I can new program, y'all. So I'm going to see if I can get that. There we go. Let's take a look. You'll see it come up over there in just a second.
Sure.
There's the boat there that we were talking about, but I've also got your photos pulled up. There's going to be a little bit of a delay for what we see on the screen, but people that are watching on the live can see it right now. I just want to show the fish that you're producing. So we're not just up here talking smack. There, you're putting fish in the boat. Like I see sheep's head right here. Looks like some redfish. I'm gonna kind of quickly scroll through there. We're kind of catching up over there. If y'all want to look, I think it's a bigger delay with this program. I'm not sure.
I see that Bray & R new trolling motor on the front of it.
Oh yeah.
But
automatic deploy. Yeah, she's sweet.
Good stuff.
I'm seeing a lot of happy faces. So what a better segue. It's almost like I planned that. Where'd you come up with the name?
Before, when I was fishing on my personal boat, I would always like make a post and say whatever I caught that weekend. And it just kind of stuck like, oh, I was happy fishing, you know, and because I am happy fishing, and I really want to gear towards people that are just happy fishing. You know, if you're out there looking for a meat haul and, you know, if you're demanding that we fill the cooler every single time, there are plenty of boats that can go and do that for you, you know, but, and I'm not saying that I can't, of course, but I like the people that just appreciate being out there.
That's right.
That are wanting to just have a good time with their family. And
we've talked about it out on the show a few different times about exactly what you're saying is like, and I'll ask another question in a minute, but like just appreciating being on the water, the experience of being out there, getting
out there early, see the sunrise, dolphins,
the conservation aspect of it, not doing the meat hauls anymore. You mentioned Speckled Truth earlier. That was that was early in the game for us. With the podcast, and they brought that kind of to our attention, trying to change the mindset of people with the social media age of not going on a trip and having to have the deck covered in fish, to maybe having like you got smiling faces, we did catch fish, but we didn't try to like destroy the population,
Right.
you know, in one haul.
Yeah. Right.
So,
and if you're doing that, imagine if you're doing meat hauls every single
week.
day and there's
Exactly.
what, 10 or 20 of us in the marina. Imagine if we're out there, you know, dinosaurs died for a reason. You know?
Remember the buffalo.
Yeah,
That's what happened to them. And the cobia. You
That's
could
right.
even say that.
That's
so.
right. That's right. But what I was going to say too is, do you think like now, how long have you been up as a captain yourself running your boat? How long has it been?
Since year made July.
So July
plus the last few months. So a year and a half I've been a captain, and then was a year before that as a deckhand.
Okay. So what do you think your clientele specifically is? Is it out of town people? Is it mainly coastal people?
I would say probably 75% are out of town.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably another maybe 15% of that is from like Mississippi.
Okay.
You know, like northern Mississippi.
Stuff,
that want to come down. But I think I really enjoy fishing with children, you know, and kids.
Yeah.
That's really my specialty.
Yep.
I have a huge amount of patience. You know, they can do something 3 or 4 times and it's not going to get on my nerves.
Yeah.
You know, I find sometimes I have a little bit more patience even than the parent. You know, the parents get frustrated with the kids. And
I'm like,
it's okay. It's fine. You know, not to undermine the parents, of course, but I have the patience for kids and even special needs. You know, I've had several kids and adults with special needs. I love that, you know.
Yeah. And that sounds to me like a niche market that you can capitalize on. Like you're saying that being a female works in your favor.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Have you had a lot of female trips? Have you a lot of people have they booked you just because, hey, we're a female, we want to go out with a female captain?
I've heard that from a couple of people. You know, a couple of guys, a couple of you know, bachelorette parties or something. They're, you know, birthday groups and it's all women. You know, I've had a few of those that get excited, but usually when they find out it's a female captain, they're like, oh, that's cool.
Right.
You know, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
you mentioned like 75% being out of town. And again, we've mentioned this before, but like those people, when you take them out, just seeing like a pelican fly by or just being out there on the water.
There's a dolphin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That makes it worse.
And we hate them. We're like, get away from the boat. And you're like, oh no, bring it over here. Like,
we got to swim with them in Mexico, man.
It's killer.
I've never done that before. Cool. That was wild. Yeah, have you ever felt one before?
We swam with them in Mexico too.
I've never done it.
It was the biggest male dolphin I've ever seen in my entire it was the Debo of dolphins.
No, this was like a medium, not normal size adult female, but the guy told me it weighed 270 pounds. And like, I've seen him, crest on top of the water, but when he swims up, swims up to you and gets like, perpendicular to, it's like, this is a big animal. Yeah. And it was turning and like flicking. Those things are legit, dude. Yeah. And they feel like a big wetsuit, like the big rubbery. It's very weird.
At IMMS, they do, I think it's IMMS over there on Gulfport Seaway.
They do all the rehab for turtles and dolphins and all that
stuff. They have a program where you can, I think they may have stopped doing that, but they had a program. It was like my kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And we went and it was just like a Tuesday or something. So they brought it up to the edge and let us feel the dolphin and everything.
I'd never done that before. It was very cool. So I can only imagine with somebody that's never been on a boat before, not from the coast, to go and see stuff like that. Like that's part of the trip. And I know that gives them I would hope, gives them their money's worth.
Oh, yeah.
They like feeding the pelicans the carcass, the skin when we're throwing it back. They get excited about that.
I've lived here my whole life, and that's one of my favorite parts of the trip. Yeah, cleaning fish. Like in the harbor, like Ocean Springs. Right by Mr. Kinney's Marine Mart.
We've got names for the pelicans are Fred, and then the little white snowy egrets or whatever. Not egrets.
Herons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We call them George, Ricky is the herring, like we've got little names for him.
Yeah, that's pretty killer. What's it been like for you on the business side of things? I've kind of from the sideline watched Joey go through it, getting all the right documentation and the insurances and the licensures and all that. Was that more or less overwhelming than you expected?
It was, I would say, more. Fortunately, As a matter of fact, I had a business where we Cerakoted firearms. And
Ooh.
remember, that's actually how we met Joey.
Yep.
Yes.
Long
he'd
time ago.
gotten
I remember that.
A couple of guns Cerakoted. And
So you kind of been through that.
and I did all the paperwork. I started that business. I got the LLC.
Okay.
I did all the taxes for it. So I did have that, at least that bit of experience on starting the business and the details. But as far as like the website, that's been a lot. I've got my website. I bought the domain, but I'm still in the works of getting the website started up and things like that. Getting the fishing table, like getting my business license and all the running around, that's a lot of paperwork.
The stuff you probably don't initially think of when you think about branching out, right?
Right.
Well, what trips do you offer now?
I do a 4-hour, 6-hour, and we'll do snapper trips when the season opens.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's all. So you do a 4
AM
hour
or PM.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll do the AM trip in the morning and then the PM. The AM's usually about 7 to 11 or 1. And then the PM trips from 1 to 5.
Yeah. That's the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Throw them up there, clean them.
You do the same thing, right?
I don't run doubles. They're full-time captains. I'm just a part-time captain.
No, you don't run doubles off? I have.
I'd done it once.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not doing this again.
It's a lot.
I'm not doing this again.
Especially when somebody books like a 6-hour and a 4-hour, then you're out there, all day.
Yeah.
And usually the difference on like a 4-hour, we'll stick to kind of around Deer in the Bay, Fort Bayou, Davis Bayou, Back Bay, all around Deer, Katrina, Keesler Reef. But then on a 6-hour, weather permitting, we can get out to the islands occasionally. We'll go to Ship, Horn, fish around there, and then come back and hit a few inshore spots as well.
Okay.
So the 6-hour does give you a little bit more options. Yeah.
Do you do the infamous shark trip? Do you offer any of that stuff, or you just go with the client says?
Like I have a trip coming up where they requested sharks. So
that's always a big thing. Can we get sharks? Can we get sharks?
I would think, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, as a charter captain, outside of having to have the right tackle, and I know that's probably a little bit more expensive.
Well, just steel leaders.
Right. Yeah. But wouldn't that be, when you hear that, wouldn't you be like, yes, because you can usually find sharks, right?
Yeah, but they're still a pain in the butt
to
deal with.
Getting one actually in the boat, because of course, if you're using a steel leader, it's a little bit easier. But
I guess I think about
I always, if we're fishing like on Keesler Reef, I'll net them. And people always say, don't net them, it'll tear up your net. But my rule is, if it'll fit in the net, it can come on the boat.
Right.
if not,
get out of here.
You're not getting a picture.
Or from the water.
Yeah. He'll hold up the line.
Yes. Get rid of that thing. Yeah.
What's your favorite species of target?
I would say probably redfish.
Redfish?
Yeah.
And what's that? Papa corks, or how do you do that?
Usually on bottom, Carolina rig.
Yeah. Cut mullet, cut bait, shrimp.
Shrimp. Usually everything eats shrimp. If you're fishing with cut bait, you're kind of weeding out your sheep's head. If you're in the vicinity of where you could possibly catch a sheep's head.
Right.
So I like to use shrimp. Everything eats shrimp.
Yeah.
Unless
they're delicious.
Unless you're in a white trout hole, then I'll switch over to cut bait, or something like that. Or if we're having trouble at the bait shop getting bait, then we'll sometimes you got to switch over to cut bait.
That's a big problem right now, isn't it? I mean, kind of always a big problem.
I don't want. I hate to put him on blast because you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right. But it's really not his fault, though.
But it's I know they're having a tough time because they have one bait boat running 2 harbors, running 2 bait shops. So that's put us in a little bit of a pickle on a few more.
Charter Trash says, don't teach Joey how to fish when he was asking all those questions.
You don't think I'm taking pointers? Something's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
He's got a little notebook right there.
Shrimp, Carolina.
White trout hole. Hold it.
Where do you think that white trout hole is? Exactly.
Yeah, you got any numbers?
Right.
Yeah, but no, and then we always like to throw it out there. Just call Ocean Springs Marine Mart as much as you can and ask if he's got lots.
Yeah, Mr. Kenny.
Yeah, he loves when you do that.
Yeah,
he loves when you call.
Yeah,
specifically.
So we always ask this: what's the craziest thing you've seen so far as a charter captain?
Or best experience?
Best experience, whatever you want to call it.
I would say probably fishing the Mississippi Billfish Classic.
Okay.
we fished that out with Zach Courtney. I was a deckhand on his boat for Connected Charters. And we did Billfish Classic, not this past year, but the year before that.
Okay.
And we got a marlin. We had 9th in the blue marlin release.
Okay.
We got 12th and 14th place for heaviest tuna. So we got to go up on stage with our fish. And it was like a whole experience. We stayed, out. It was the best stuff. Probably.
Have you
and I think altogether we've done a few tournaments like the Louisiana Wahoo Classic. We stayed in Venice. We've got a 200-pound tuna. So we did a swordfish tournament. We stayed out for 3 days on the water.
Ooh.
On a center console.
That's always fun.
I don't know.
So, bean bags, baby, bean bags.
I think
3 days.
How
big a boat was it?
33 foot.
The same one we went on, the Invincible.
Yeah, 33 Invincible.
Big enough.
Yeah.
We had it.
Or 110, like on the cruise ship.
We had tarps, like 2 poles in the rod holders up front, tarps up front, tarps in the back. This was summer. We had fans with the little motors from batteries. The drill. The batteries from the drills. I mean,
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
It was quite the experience.
What about as you
like
a captain? Yourself as a captain, what's the craziest thing you've seen or the best thing you've seen on one of your trips?
Like dealing with the kids, maybe. You kind of mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. I've had so many different little experiences. I guess I was not on my boat, and I won't name the boat.
All right.
But they did forget to put the plug in when they left me the boat.
No.
We will not mention any.
Was it heavy metal charge?
I've done it before, and it's not a good feeling.
That was quite an experience.
They get your heart racing way quicker than coffee does.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I lost an anchor in 40 foot of water, and then
I've definitely done that.
Came back 2 weeks later and the rope was floating. I thought it was grass.
Sweet.
And got the anchor back out of a 40-foot hole like 2 weeks later. That was kind of fun.
I'll tell myself, I don't know if I've told it on the show. Remember we went and saw the Blue Angels? We were watching out front. I bought a brand new stern anchor from Academy, and I bought like a carabiner, right? It was on the end of the rope, and so I just hooked it straight on to the anchor, right?
Yeah.
And I chunked it too. I wanted it far out there. Start pulling it to set the anchor, right? I'm like, carabiner comes up. No anchor, and I know it clicked on there, so somehow it just released itself, and how it flipped around to where it let it go. I don't.
Yeah.
To this day,
it's a brand new anchor.
Brand new anchor, right? It's right behind, pretty much Margaritaville. So if you want to go out there and.
Well, I guarantee you that's not the only one.
Right, and it's been a few years, but
mine was on Biloxi Sportfish. I was on their boat, and the customer sitting up front, and I toss the anchor over and go back to the helm, and the customer up front says, should that rope have been tied to the boat? And I was like,
no.
Well, yeah.
No.
He said, well, I just watched it go over the edge. I was like, so the anchor wasn't even tied to the boat.
Oh, man. I love it. You're just like, things happen. We're good.
But those little experiences like that, that made me want to get my own boat. So that way I'm docking it, I'm tying the anchor on, I'm putting the plug in. I'm kind of responsible for my own fate.
Yeah.
And it's every trip, and I've learned, I don't run as much as y'all, but you grow off of that trip because you learn. Yeah. Okay, this client really, he was kind of, sheltered or in a shell, didn't want to talk to me. Oh, we did this, that worked.
Right.
Had kids on the boat, this worked.
Well, there's a whole psychology to it, right? Like you're not just there running the boat, everything you just named.
Yeah.
Right.
Captaining, trying to find fish, managing your baits, your tackles, your gear, but you're the psychology.
Then you got to
who is this person? How do they act?
Right.
What can I say? I'm sure you don't worry about that. You probably just talk to everybody like you do, but that's part of it, right?
Right. Fortunately, I had my customer service background from being selling jewelry. So, and when I sold jewelry, I was on commission. So
you had a leg up there.
Yes, I did. I had to make my paycheck when I was in jewelry. You know, your way of talking to people is how you made your bread and butter,
right.
And your commission. So I honestly think everybody in the world should work on commission at some point in their life and have to, be nice to get their paycheck, and learn how to.
I waited tables.
Yeah.
So did he. So I've
I
been
think
there.
Everybody should have to do that at least once in their life.
Yeah. Did you have you it being a passion, a hobby, and then now a career, has it changed the way you feel about it at all? That I've mentioned that definitely on the show. That
I still fish on my days off.
Wow.
Yeah.
See,
absolutely. I'm actually kind of, I spend all this time helping everybody else fish. So I actually fish less now than I did before I was in the industry.
Okay.
And because now I know when I get groups of 2, I'm throwing a pole in with you, but when it gets up to 3 and 4 people, you're baiting, you're tying knots, you're, finding your next spot. You're really too busy to kind of get involved.
Taking off catfish.
You don't want to get in their way either. I found that a lot of times, if I'm fishing and they want to cast over here, well, I'm in their way, so I try not to get in their way. And that's part of the customer service aspect where you can kind of read people and realize, okay, let me not,
get too much in there.
Sean says he can't wait to get on the water in our kayaks one day. Sean.
Yes. We've been talking about that for years. He's an excellent kayak fisherman and goes out with everybody, on his kayak. And I actually bought a hammerhead kayak at one of the boat shows 3 boat shows ago.
Okay.
And it has never been in the water.
Okay. You make me feel good about myself because I bought the trolling motor to Minn Kota and didn't use it for almost 2 years. It sat in my garage.
I had to show him how to plug it in.
Yeah. No, it was turn it on.
Yeah, turn it on.
I plugged it in. And
he plugged it in. He's like, it don't work, bro. I was like,
knew something was up.
This little button right here.
Okay, that makes way more sense. Way more sense to turn it on. Yeah. So good. You make me. I'm not the only one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I've debated about selling it a couple of times.
Don't sell it. Because then the next weekend after you sell it,
somebody will invite you to go.
You'll want to go. You'll have. You're like, I should go kayaking.
Yeah.
So what you're offering 4 6-hour? You're carrying how many people? You can carry up to 6, right? But
6.
what do you usually carry? 4, or you'll carry up to 6?
I'll carry 6, and I'm one of the only ones in the marina that does 6. Most of the boats, they kind of advertise 4, and if you have, somebody, they'll call and say, hey, can I bring an extra person? Because they might do that, but they don't advertise 4 people. So as far as the inshore boats, I think it's just me and Let's Go Fishing. We're the only ones that advertise will take 6 people.
Because that's really 7, right? With you.
Right.
Yeah. So that's getting a little
a lot
on a boat.
Yours is
22?
24.
Okay. Yeah, still though.
And fortunately, it helps that I'm not as small as I used to be, but I'm a smaller person, so I can squeeze in between them, when they're standing right next to the console or,
It's not even just the bodies though. It's the poles. It's the getting the fish off the line. It's getting lines out of the way, right?
Yeah.
It's really
they need bait up front and they need fish off out back and they need to be re-rigged. It's a handful. It's a whole different world when there's 6 people versus 4.
Have you had a going back to Joey's like wildest stories or whatever? Have you had a 6-person trip where they were all green?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
You earn your money that day.
Well, you got to charge. You charge by the hook. You charge by the hook.
Have a little a menu, like a price menu.
That's 12, 13, 14. I've done rigged 8 different daggone lines. You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
I've had several that have never seen saltwater before. They may have fished like freshwater in their uncle's pond or something, but they've never done saltwater. People that have never picked up that kind, like a spinning open face reel, they're like, "Where's my button?"
Right.
Like, no,
and
it's upside down.
They have it upside down. Yeah, I can't cast it. Well, I guess not.
But that's one thing that at the beginning of my charter, let's say nothing about fishing. Kids that know nothing about fishing, I don't just cast it out for them. I'm going to teach you how to cast it out. Say, hey, this is your belt. Open your belt. Hold your trigger finger. This is the best way to hold the pole. This is how you cast it. With the kids, I'm like, it's like flicking a booger. And they kind of get that. Or if they're moving it all around, I'm like, now imagine a pizza on the table.
Mhm.
And if your pizza's moving all around the place, it's going to be hard to eat, right?
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, so you have to kind of come up with these
It's
little
way
things.
better. I just yell at them.
I believe
That's a way better strategy than I got.
They know if they get on a
Yeah.
heavy metal charters, that
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a little intense. Yeah.
Right.
Happy fishing, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
heavy metal, different vibe.
Yeah.
Different
No
vibe.
doubt.
Yeah.
So you're in the harbor now. You're running the trips. You got the. You said you're working on a website. Is that
Yeah. It's Happy Fishing Charters MS.com.
okay?
And it's in the process where
It's not live yet.
No,
Okay.
it's not live yet.
So
where are you doing most of your work
working on
on Facebook? Are you blasting your stuff
That's
out?
where I do most of my stuff is on my Happy Fishing Charters on Facebook.
okay.
That's where I had a fishing page before I started the business and everything. It was called Angie's Happy Fishing.
Yeah.
And would just share
was
whatever I
personal
caught.
page,
It
yeah.
was more personal. It showed my journey going through sea school, getting my captain's license. I would share it there, you know, anything fishing related. Because I realized like not all my friends want to hear about my fishing stuff, you know, some of my friends just want to hear about my, you know, me or what I have if I'm going out to whatever, you know. So that's why I created that page, was the Angie's Happy Fishing. And then once I stuck with the name, I made the Happy Fishing Charters page. It's a whole different page.
I just dropped
and
the
that's
link.
more profesh, I guess they they say, you know.
Yeah.
I keep the personal kind of stuff off of there and make it just more kind of charter friendly.
And it makes it easier for the clients when they want to look it up.
Absolutely.
They just look you up,
Right.
Happy Fishing Charters, and they can see.
Right.
That's what I was sharing earlier for people that were watching. I mean, that's where all those pictures came from. And I dropped the link in the comments below. It'll be there on the Facebook and the YouTube. So if you want to just click the link and go over there and check it out.
So you'll be running snapper trips in short. You're running till it's over. I mean, you're gonna run.
Well, she said
all year round, right?
Year round.
Year round. I don't
Yeah.
stop.
What
Wheels
else do
keep turning.
do you offer any kind of like dolphin trips or any of that stuff? I know you do a lot of work where like we do beach cleanups and run people out to islands and stuff like that.
We just had got a contract with the MSU where we take the people out to do cleanups on like Horn Island. Each time it'll be a different island. The last few times it's been Horn, but I think next year they may do like Ship or another island. But really anything. I was talking to Chad J because I know he advertises on his sign, Sunset Cruises, Dolphin Cruises.
Right.
And I was kind of talking to him about how much business he actually gets from that, you know, and is it something people are actually interested in? And he said he gets a lot of people calling him last minute. So maybe like walking in the parking lot and they say, hey, let's do a sunset cruise.
Yeah.
But he may not be available to just dump his boat in the water and go right that second. So I'm thinking I may do something like,
Well, Captain Sonny Schindler, he bird watching.
Yeah.
He said bird watching is legit.
It makes sense though. It sounds funny at first, but like if I'm a hardcore bird enthusiast, which they are out there,
they are.
and I don't own a boat, how do I get
Absolutely.
out to some of these spots where they're at if they're not just on the beach?
Right. I've had people that knew the name of birds before they'd be like, oh, is that a da-da-da-da? And I'm like,
it was.
How did you know that?
It was on his page, right? Wasn't it his Facebook page that had all the damn birds on there, like not professional, but I mean,
Pelican,
guys
seagull.
They're not bringing fishing poles; they're bringing nice cameras, right? And they're taking pictures of all this stuff. I thought it was cool as hell.
Somebody asked me the other day, what's the diving bird called? I always call them a little diving bird.
I'm here to catch fish.
It's a little diving.
Happy fishing, not happy
bird watching. We ain't got time for that.
I don't know.
Well, that's a pelican. This is George.
Right.
This is Ricky.
Right. I know
You called him wrong. This is wrong name.
Yeah. I was watching a YouTube video about a Bertram boat that the guy had refitted, and he turned this thing into it was immaculate. It was beautiful. And he was a charter guy, and this was up on the East Coast somewhere. But the guy that was interviewing him for the video asked him about what kind of trips are you running, and he said he had predominantly transitioned over to like they didn't call it dolphin sunset cruises with like where your fishing chair would be was now a table with cup holders and charcuterie boards, charcuterie boards all over the place. And he said like that was the game and that's what they were doing. It makes sense.
I thought about that for a while, like bringing because I used to bring my grill out to Deer Island and do dinner, do hamburgers, steaks,
Right.
you know, that we always thought it was funny because when I'd bring my grill out there and we bring hamburgers, that's when we catch a bunch of fish. But if we didn't bring the hamburgers, we wouldn't catch any fish, to grill.
Right.
So, but I always thought that would be a cool like date night.
Yeah.
Bring them out there at sunset, let them do.
We talked about that.
But I think when you get into the food, that opens up a whole nother, you got to be FDA.
Yeah.
There's food and
Right.
All that
legalities,
so
and stuff like
maybe
that.
if you did it where almost like BYOF, bring your own food,
right?
So you're not
That's what I thought about. Like I just bring the grill and I cook it for them, or something like that, or
Joey,
facilitate.
You mentioned going back to like the legality of everything, licensures and all that, but like even like your insurances change if the people get off the boat.
Yes,
is that
it
right?
does.
Yes, 100%.
And I wouldn't have thought about that.
If I'm not mistaken, you got to have. I think it's the snorkel insurance or scuba insurance from what I've been told to get off the boat. So if they jump off the boat and jump on a rock and cut their feet, they can come back to you and say, well, why are they off the boat? You're not supposed to be on the boat. You're supposed to be on the boat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I forget what they called it. My insurance guy, it was a whole nother plan you had to buy.
Yeah.
Which
alcohol off the boat. That's your 2-to-1. What if you got any of those on the boat? Insurance is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard to run businesses in this country.
I don't even care about the boat. Just give me the alcohol.
Right. Well, so what's you've established that you can set a goal and crush it. So what is the next few steps? Like I'm assuming too, like starting out, doing your own thing, your own company, your own name, you got to build a clientele list, right? Isn't that the game?
Once you get returning,
like a black book,
right,
100%.
Yeah, I've recently gotten. I've got a trip next month that a guy's fished with me 3 times. I've got actually 2 next month. And they've both been out with me 3 different times. Okay. So that tells me I'm doing something right. They're willing to come back to me, and kind of look me up. And, because I learned even in the jewelry business, if your be-back customers are usually your bread and butter, that's what can make or break you. If you sell it like in jewelry, it was, well, if I sell them a promise ring, then I can sell them the engagement ring, and then they get the men's band, and then they get their anniversary band, and
pile it on.
I think I know I'm this way. I think like a lot of people are. Especially nowadays with like digital everything, everything's online, everything's a damn automated voice call. Everything's like so
Can I talk to a person?
Correct. It's dehumanized. And then if you ever do have an experience with a human, a lot of times it's not great. So when I have a good experience, just like you said, I had a really good one with a tire, the Delta World tire the other day.
And you're gonna go back and ask.
I've already been back multiple times to deal with that one girl because she treated me like super cool, just off the cuff, like I don't worry about this. We got that, and I'm like, now I'm just going. I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah, right.
And I would assume the same way with a chart.
100%.
Yeah.
And that black book is worth gold,
right?
Especially like in the later months, like right now when it's slowing down, and then the snowbirds come in and all your regulars come in.
Yeah,
you hit it right there.
But so just real quick before we wrap it up, like what do you have? Like you have some milestones that you're shooting for, or is it?
I think that I'm going to stick with the inshore game for a while, but I do, I've always kind of dreamed of being on a sport fish team, running tournaments, kind of in the bigger leagues.
Like JJ, kind of like JJ.
Exactly. I've now done JJ's, I've picked JJ's brain a million times. But,
right.
I think that's a kind of far distant dream. I want to work the inshore game for a while, and then maybe years down the road, maybe do something like JJ does, shut down for a tournament stint or something like that. Get out there.
Go get crazy out there.
Yeah.
Did you fish snapper last year?
Like snapper
season?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask. I didn't know if you got the snapper in for this year. So this will be your second season fishing snapper on your own boat.
This will be my first
season. Yeah, that's what I meant.
On my own boat doing snapper trips. I ran a couple of them on Let's Go Fishing.
Yeah, but this will be your first year.
Yes. So this will be my boat, my first year running snapper trips on mine.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I love the story. We've been following you, obviously, in person.
We're a fan.
And then watching everything you've ever posted on your personal page about the journey. And I love it. I hope people hear it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see somebody. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care anybody out there. Like when you're passionate about something, if if you like making cheese, like I don't particularly I like making cheese, but I like to watch other people that are passionate about it, like crush their goals on being a good cheese maker or something. So charter boat captain is the same thing.
100%. Yeah. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you or book a trip, Facebook's the best way, or where's your contact?
Yes. Or you can call me 228-238-6339 or the Facebook page.
And
awesome.
Book it right there. Yeah. And all your trips are on your Facebook page?
Like your packages, I think is what
No, I will add that.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to do that, like do a pinned post at the top so it pops up every time, because I've had a lot of people book me through Fishing Booker.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people know that when they book through Fishing Booker charges you a fee.
100%.
So if you book directly through Captains, it saves the captain a few dollars,
20%, whatever
their
you want to
commission fee, of having to pay Fishing Booker for that. So if you hear my, or want to look me up and you find me on Facebook, don't turn around and book on Fishing Booker.
That's anybody, any captain.
Captain.
Find them on Facebook or find them anywhere, and
it's as simple as a direct message on Facebook. If it is,
Okay. So or a phone call.
Right.
I'm good with calls, text.
Okay.
If you're not a phone person and you want to shoot me a text, shoot me a text.
And like you mentioned already, you're 7 days a week, right? So
7 days a week.
There's no days off. No days off.
No excuse.
Yep. June, July, we're lucky to get a day off.
Yeah, and probably booking up through into 25 already, or like booking out as far as you can go, as far as anybody wants to put a deposit down and make it happen. Okay. No excuses.
You want to fish? I'll take you fishing.
Happy
fishing.
Well, Captain Angie, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us. It's a great conversation. The comments are lighting up, so people were digging it for sure. Love the story and keep doing what you're doing.
Wish you the best.
This ain't a one-off either. You come back and chat with us again.
I've been a big fan of the show, as y'all know, since we were talking about the original logos. I've always been a fan of the show. I can remember many a times watching y'all at supper time, because y'all are on at 5:30 and we ate dinner every night at 5:30, so I'd have it up on the table, which is rude to my family, I know.
We'll let you have it. We'll let you slide.
And that does remind me of something too, and thank you for always repping the Pelican. I think you probably maybe the most, I would think, maybe that repped our stuff. So
I probably have at least 10 out.
A bunch.
Well, we appreciate it. So thanks everybody for watching on the lives and the replay and on the podcast side as well.